Oh my goodness, they're all in here.
You want some coffee?
I do.
Let's go get some. I'm gonna take a break.
Welcome to another episode of Suburban Homestead Gen X. Sorry we didn't have an episode last week. Jennifer was kind of under the weather. I was under the weather before that, and we had 10 days where we weren't able to get a whole lot done. The last time I was out, I was trying to show some of that. My sound messed up, but I'm going to share that clip with you while I take a little bit more of this brush off. It's been a rough 10 days. I guess, you know, last week we didn't get a homestead video up, but we haven't been able to do much on the homestead. For the past 10 days, everybody's been sick. I don't know if it's a new variant of that stuff that was going around or how that works, but in just 10 days, you can see everything we have done is grown up, and we're at a point where we're about to lose control. This is the end of July, so the growing season's gonna stop. The only thing we have right now is just probably 20 potatoes, so we're gonna put some more dirt in there today. There's still some time to get that happening, and you know, maybe get another 10 or 20. Unfortunately, this is just the only thing we were able to plant this year. We'll get that and probably try. We got to get the fence rows all done, all the way down. That's becoming really an important issue for us here with new neighbors and the way the suburbs are changing. So we got to get this fence in and done. It's going to have to be completed by, you know, by the end of December. We've got to have at least the front sections done. You know, the back, that can be a fight for next year, but you know, I have, you know, one neighbor over here that seems to be really cool. Another neighbor over there that's, you know, pretty cool about it. Both of them, I think, are planning on adding to where the fence is on their property. They're just letting me go ahead with the expense of putting the first part up, and then they're going to add to it and build onto theirs. I really don't care. One neighbor on the other side of me, though, I think he's going to be a little finicky. Every time I'm out there on that side, he seems to want to come out and check and see what I'm doing, which I don't blame him. I'm not saying I blame him. You got to be careful with your property. But I'm not going to take anything that's not ours. So for today, I guess what we'll do is we'll get started on this. But see, we've also had some rain too, and I wasn't able to get out. But on this, we're going to add some dirt into this. It's a little dry, so we'll probably add a little water and see if we can't make this a little more healthy and get it coming up stronger. You know, and I went up to the chicken pen. I had to get a little bit more dirt in. You know, and I was looking over the top trying to see how to pull these plants in, because over that 10 days, I mean, they just grew all over the place. Only thing I can think of is, you know, let's weave them back in, put this dirt, and try and hope they grow up through. So what we might do, I think we're just going to get a little bit more dirt, put it over these. I went up, I got another bucket of dirt. I'm bringing that down. So we're pouring that in, and I'm pretty much going to have to leave that alone. From that point on now, I'm going to have to leave the rest of this alone and let it go about 4 or 5 more days. Then I can put some more dirt on it. It was looking a little dry, but the dirt I put on had so much moisture in it from the chicken area that I figured it's just going to soak down in and everything will be fine. But you know, the big project around here, the thing that we have got to get done before the end of this year, is we've got to get our entire fence line figured out, with hopefully getting some fencing, you know, fencing up here and there as we can afford it. And well, you know, the same thing happened with my sound the other day. We want to clear this so we can run the bush hog down it. and help maintain it. Hopefully we'll get the bush hog out one day this week. Then we'll try and get all the way down to this camera here. But I like to leave the shots up so you guys can see kind of what all we have to go through. Homesteading is not just making a can of preserves every now and then. If you're trying to make this into a way of life, you're trying to determine on your property, what can you produce yourself and what do I have to get from an outside source? That's a suburban homestead. Now, one of these big country homesteads with 100 acres, they can probably do it all. They can have their dairy, their meat, everything right there. But when you only have, 4 or 5 acres that you're working with, or even less, I've seen some people do this on an acre and a half. You just have to keep cutting and get the brush down, get the areas cleared, and keep pushing forward. Well, we've got a little bit of time left this evening, so might as well try and at least get a few of those piles that we saw the other day. Bear move, Karen. What I was saying, see all that's grown up in there, so maybe we can get the bush hog out, we can get some of it. I might get a little risky. Normally I don't take too many risks like that, but just because of how far behind it seems we're getting, I guess I'm going to do a few things I wouldn't normally do. And we're getting firewood. Some of these trees in here, I know they're skinny and they're small, but we may just cut them down and buck them up. Burn rounds for a while this winter. Whoa. There's a little bit. You see all this brown here and there, that's everything they dropped. And they come up through here. Now, Alabama Power, that's been about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I'm telling you, whatever this sickness is, I hope none of y'all get it. But if you do, the best cure seems to be plenty of fluids and dry foods like crackers is what helped us the most. Crackers, some bread. Yeah, we're gonna get the bush hog on. Maybe we'll try and do that tomorrow. If we can get some more, if we can get enough of these piles up, we'll do that. We'll get the bush hog tomorrow, and we'll just come and get all this cut. We'll walk in through here and see if we can find that peach tree again. I don't even remember ever planting a peach tree, but it had a marker on it. I think maybe somebody might have done it trying to be nice, and we didn't know it, and we just cut it over. Oops, first pile. Looking at how much I can bush hog, I'm actually getting a little excited because I think we're going to be ahead by the time, everything stops growing around September or so. We're going to be far ahead. All this will turn brown by September, and by November you'll be able to see all the way to the road, and it stays like that till about March. Man, as dry as this stuff is, it ought to go up pretty quick. So you see, in 3 weeks, these vines have just about grown up through this brush pile, and I'm going to be lucky to get it all. But the more I get, the less I got to worry about cutting up with the bush hog. I know there's a stump in here somewhere, too. But I guess we're going to work resiliently this winter. At least I'm going to try to. Just depends how my job goes. Like I say, sometimes we end up traveling the country, and that's always a great thing. All right, that's about as much of that pile as we're gonna get. We got this little bit right here, it looks like. If everyone remembers this, this is the spot where we got stuck and had to use that neat little trick to get out. See, man, these ruts are getting really bad. Still can't afford any culvert yet. Culvert, they want, you know, it's gonna be almost $1,000 for 2 pieces, 8-foot culvert, it looks like. It's a little rich for our blood at the moment. So we're gonna just have to make do. I'm just going through here trying to find any and all this wood that's down to, not just these piles. A lot of brush here. Okay, I think we're ready to try and go put this up, and we're not going to be able to get much done tonight. It's about 7. Man, well, I think we got about as much as we're going to be able to get tonight. I hope it doesn't pull it all off, because if it does, we just take in what we got. But I think we need to come out with the trailer one more time. I hate it, but puts us off a day. But we'll come out with the trailer one more time, try and get up the rest of these piles. All those little places that we have firewood tucked away, we're going to ride around and get those. We'll find us a place to start making a new cutting area up at the top here, so we don't have to worry about doing it right beside the house anymore. Slow and easy keeps it on the trailer. We see we got to get this pile here yet. We don't, you know, hopefully in the next 3 days we don't just lose control. Everything is just growing so wildly. But that, you know, June, July, August, those 3 months is just nothing but trying to maintain what little bit you got. But, you know, this is the first year we've actually done this well. I think that, you know, by the time fall comes, we'll have enough cleared that I should be able to clear this much more over the course of the winter. And by next spring, we should be able to do a whole lot more bush hogging and even clear more land easier during the spring. We might have, you know, all 4 acres or so here totally cleared up. I guess you just saw me starting the collection of this when we didn't get out yesterday. I'd had my back a little pulled, so I had to sit for a while. It gave me time to do my other work though. It gave me a little time to do that. So that was a good thing from it, but we're going to focus on getting the rest of this done, maybe going and getting another pile and putting the bush hog on the back. We got to try and get these woods trimmed out again. When we light this thing up, it's going up. Little shaking and dancing, we're ready to go. We'll have to cut that again before we put the rest of that black felt down. But we got all this cleared out yesterday, the day before, I mean. Firewood. Something else we got to add to the list. We got to start collecting firewood. Winter, I mean, it's not that far off. I can live with this little bit of brush that's in these places here. I need to get this up out the road. Well, I guess we do need to get some more dirt. That kind of worked out real well what I did. I see that one there in the middle is looking really good and healthy, and I got more green coming out there. That's real bright green there. So yeah, I guess the key is going to be getting more dirt around that plant. I didn't want to park down here because hill's a little steeper here. Wanted to make sure the tractor was in a good spot in case it broke, you know, shifted out and started rolling. All right, so we got all this cleaned up and that cleaned up. I think we got one more pile. We got to get the garden pieces up for next year, but that's you know, that's a later project now. There's nothing we can really plant right now, so our primary goal is going to be get this done. Oh man, let's see what we can do here. I don't know if it's dry enough to just light from the leaves, but we'll see. Well, I might have to go get some paper, because that's a clump enough to light the thing. I knew this pile was going to be dry. I just didn't know exactly how dry. Shake it around a little bit. We'll spread that fire through there. I figured this would catch up pretty quick. I didn't know if I'd have to get any paper or not, though. We get a rain shower, but it's still just dry. But we had a good rain shower earlier today, otherwise I wouldn't be burning right now. Well, I think that's going to burn. I'm going to go get the tractor and bring that other stuff over. Fire's burning pretty good. Kind of not rushing over here. I'm letting that burn down a little bit. Oh yeah, I caught the other side now. Hoping we can get this unloaded here and get the bush hog on and do a little bush hogging this evening. Oh, camera got too hot from the fire, overheated. Woo. We're gonna do our best to get the rest of this done now. We are definitely on the warm side of the global cycle. I'll come rake all this up a little later once this burns down a lot. We'll come out and give this a rake. Ah! All right, let's go ahead and take 5. Get a drink, and then we'll come put the bush hog on. Just move this away from the fire just in case while I'm gone. Helps if you turn the gas on, or diesel. So where we're gonna go, we're just gonna drop this right over here and get this bush hog. And in case any of you watch our other show, like Remnant Teaching, this is where I film it from, right over here. I thought this was a nice, quaint little corner. Evening, everybody. Let this burn down, and I kind of got a little too lazy sitting down watching some television programming with Jennifer. Sorry about the poor light in here. I was going to bring one, but I said we'll just make a little bit of light here in just a second or two. Get this fire built back up. Have plenty of light to see. Get this much brush done. And then we're gonna, I think we've been having some predators come through here and mess around with the chickens, and the dogs seem like they're a little antsy about coming through here now. So we're gonna go for just a quick little walk here this evening too, and see if we can't figure out what's going on. It's almost like autumn with all the leaves. This also keeps a really big fire ring, you know, because I let it burn out a little bit. I just like to use the same spot, and I want this tree to come down, so if I kill the roots and make it a little weak, that's okay. I don't like sweet gums as much, but I think eventually we're going to take almost all the pine trees down for sure. You know, I don't know if you've seen any of these clips here with these pine trees snapping in these storms. All right, hope that's, there we go. We should have a little bit of light now. Get the rest of this burned, but what I was saying, we're just gonna kind of go for a little walk. I'll see if I can't, if we hope we see some signs, I'll show you what to look for. You know, if you have to go out on your property. Even in the suburbs like this in Alabama, we have bobcat come through here. And I know there's one bobcat, and she's really sweet. I'll see if I can find a picture or something to put up. I think Jennifer took one a few years ago. Good boy, Stanley. You watch him. You watch him, Stanley. Good boy.
That's the bobcat that hangs around the property, folks. And Stanley's chasing them off the edge of the property.
Good boy, Stanley. All right. Stanley made him leave years ago. But she'll come through here every year with a cub or two, and she kind of shows them a boundary as it gets towards our house, and they don't cross that boundary and they go on up through. So we just let them cross. I figure even once we put our fence up, they'll be able to cross. Winds are out of the south tonight. Ooh, that's not cool. Man, I don't know. What y'all think about some of this weather? I've seen, this is the most rain I think I've seen in the state of Alabama over the course of a summer. I mean, I remember, let's see, it would have to have been 96. I remember 96 was a really wet year. But I mean, it was nothing like this. We were having some major storms all up into July with hail and all that. You know, usually Alabama, July, August, September, October, unless there's a hurricane in the Gulf, we usually don't get much precipitation. That's the best time to get, you know, outside construction type projects done, because you can just leave stuff uncovered. Yeah, I guess I don't even know if Jennifer's in this week's episode. I don't think so. She's been down for the past 10 days or so. And I know we had some type of cold, flu. Not going to say what it might have been. But we're over that. And then the other night in bed, a spider bit her in an indiscriminate place. And, you know, that's something that you have to think about, too, when you're doing this type of setup, you know, the homesteading and trying to get things done. Stuff like that happens. You have insect bites. The first time when we were still coming up here and getting things ready, Jennifer was putting a bag liner in a garbage bag, and she pulls her hand back and she looks at me and she's going, "Oh my gosh, something bit me. I have 2 puncture wounds. I have 2 puncture wounds." And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, a snake has bitten her. So I'm like freaking out a little bit, because I don't know what kind of snakes we have up here. You know, I know now, but I didn't know then. And so I go running in there to see what's going on, and there was a bite on the top of her finger and the bite on the bottom of her finger. And when you look down in the can, there was a possum in there. She was trying to put this bag down on the possum, and I guess it just pissed him off, and he bit her. Oh, that was scary, though. But what I was saying, like the spider bites, I had AI make me this.
Ever wake up with a weird red bump and wonder if it's a spider bite? Here's what to look for. Spider bites often start with a sharp sting, then turn red and slightly swollen. Some develop a tiny blister in the center, and they're usually itchy, not just painful. Unlike mosquito bites, they don't come in clusters. And if the redness starts spreading or you feel sick, that's a sign to get it checked out.
Pause the video a second. I'm trying to leave this up a little bit long enough, because as things like this happen to us and we have to treat them at home, you know, I want to share that information with you, and I'm going to make sure that I use something like, you know, AI is my source for this material. So it may not necessarily be the true homestead method, but it's going to be the best method when you're at home until you can get to a hospital. Let's go ahead and see if we can't pull more of this up. We got a nice fire happening now, and it's about 70 degrees outside, so it's not as hot as it was earlier. Earlier, I couldn't stand it. You know, guys, and I'm sorry we didn't get as many projects in this week as I would like to have gotten in, as much as we usually do. But next week, we're going to be focusing more on the fence rows again, because that's our #1 project. And I'm sure there's going to be little things in between there, but I'm feeling a whole lot better. I know Jennifer will be better, and we'll be getting more done. Oh, wind's changed direction now. Southwest. Yeah, they say we're supposed to have some more storms coming in. That wind says it's not. Well, the wind's picking up, though. Yeah, we're going to stay out here. We're going to stay right by this till this burns down. I might fast forward some for y'all. I didn't plan on the wind picking up like this. I just called for a light breeze tonight. So it's usually closer to around 10 or so when we have this disturbance. So we're going to see if we can catch something tonight. Don't worry, if we need it, we got a little protection in our pocket. You know, as I'm walking, I'm looking at the ground. I'm trying to see, because we had the rain a couple nights. So that makes my job a little easier. That's why I wanted to do it tonight. Well, there's been deer. Well, whoa, that's another hole. Gonna fill that one too. But if we've had some deer, then it makes sense that we have something else up here. You know, we're just walking, checking the ground. Something up here in these chickens. Chicken wire is only good as your strongest predator in the area. I may have to get some 4x4 welded wire to put around it, which I think we have some. You know, we do have a possum and a raccoon here. And they've both figured out about leaving chickens alone. They're the last two. So they were the smart ones. Well, when we come to get firewood, boy, there's a good bit up here. I mean, I know some of it looks like it's a little old, but I mean, if I can burn that before I have to cut something down, because we only have so much resource. We've actually been talking about, you know, when storm season picks back up in the fall, you know, having a couple chainsaws and going and helping people, you know, remove trees and take some of the wood. Yeah, we're going along. I don't see anything. Boy, this ground is so spongy. More deer tracks. To come up here tomorrow during the day and see why this ground is so spongy. All right, we'll go down. Let's go down and check on our fire. Whoa. I'm going to fill that in the morning too. Well, I mean, we saw some deer tracks. I didn't see anything that would be coyote-like. And I'm not skilled enough to really notice cats that much. Cats walk real light. Hey, Karen. We gotta go down and get Gracie. Gracie was complaining because she wasn't in this episode either. Well, I understand your complaints, and now you're in the episode. Are you happy? Yeah, there's a booger bear up there. You should go get it. Gotta leave that light on to deter predators from the chickens. Ta-da, we have Gracie. All right, big girl, go potty. Okay, I'll turn the lights off. She's going to be modest this evening, but hey, thanks for joining us. If this is the first time, I want to tell you, I really appreciate it. It means a lot that you guys come by and visit each week. And we're just trying to show you the real deal. This is what it takes. One or two people trying to, you know, put any kind of homestead together from a piece of raw land. But until next week, have a good one.